So, can you guess what I'm gonna ask you today?
No idea. You haven't told me or give me a hint about the topic.
So, we'll not ask you any question today. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Invisible Voice. I am Tasrif, the host of this podcast. I have with me Sadman.
Hello, everyone. This is Sadman.
All right, so if you heard our last episode, you might hear some noises because the reason was Sadman. He messed up, right, Sadman?
No, I didn't mess up.
You were talking so low.
It was a
Difficulties.
technical
Bro,
difficulty.
like when I was editing, my volume level was at 50% and I was clearly hearing my voice and still I couldn't hear your
I
voice.
just told you the use the other website to record. You didn't listen. You paid. But I think you can always keep one or two online classes giving that ultimate excuse that net was down, server was down, couldn't get hold of connection. It's always there, and no one just can like deny it, right? Our internet service is so shitty that it will like everyone has to get that or have to eat that excuse. So that's
But I
really
was very dumb, so I didn't have that idea. So normally I had to edit for like 3 or 4 hours, right? But yesterday for your problem, I had to work for extra 4 more hours. Like, do you know how pain I was then?
dude. I also
How
edit
much pain
clips,
I
and
was?
I also we have two different productions.
Bro, like
So I
when
also have to do my part. So I know.
when you are doing your part, my voice was clear and loud, but your ones was not.
Even if your voice was low, so low, it wasn't a problem for me because I use a different software and for to record and to edit as well. I recommended you. I think you should switch to those softwares now because those are easy to handle, easy to use.
All right, so we move on. But I had also maths homework that day, but I didn't do it because of this editing.
Yeah.
And you created this problem in order to solve that. So I do not own any personal mobile phone. All right. So that's why my teacher asked me why I didn't publish my homework. I said that, sir, I do not have any mobile phone or like I do not own personal mobile. So then my sir forgave me.
Okay.
So I think that was very good trick. I actually don't own any mobile these days, but you own, right?
Yeah, I have one.
And you use that extensively.
Not extensively on. Actually, you need one apparently.
Yes, so that is we are gonna talk about today. So everyone uses cell phone. So as usual, we should start by telling some stats. So just over half of the children in the United States use phone, and 53% of them are children.
Children, as in the age range.
Yes, like in at the age of 11.
Yeah. Okay.
So and the more even thing is from 13 to 18, the percentage is 84%. Like, what do you think about that?
Teenagers is basically it's cool, I guess. 'Cause
It's cool, right?
it's cool as in using a mobile phone isn't cool because but the stat shows that the from 13 to 18, which is basically teenage. So
Yes.
everyone holding a phone, even in our country, from children to actually everyone. So that's it.
Bro, like at the age of 11, the percentage is 53%.
Okay.
It's like more than half. And that is that. And like, can you tell me one thing? Like, how much time do you spend in a day with your mobile phone?
How much day would I spend? It depend. I don't know. It's actually spend pretty much a good amount of time, I
Like
guess.
4 or 5 hours?
On an average, yes. Because it varies from day to day. It depends on my other works and all.
So like if you use for 5 hours, that's I think you are below average because in the stats shows that normally the teens spend an average of 7 hours and 22 minutes on their phone in a single day.
Stats of which country?
America.
So we're not American. That doesn't
Bro, like
apply for us.
America is the standard. We say dollar for every currency. So like that is the standard.
That's okay. Like stats are stats, but that doesn't apply for us because
Like you have to agree that most of the teens, like we all know our friends, they I think I'm pretty sure that they like easily use like 7 hours a day. Like, don't you think that?
A cell phone, I guess, yeah. There are facts like those who there are teens who are involved in other kinds of activities like gaming, intensive gaming, or some are creating some kind of content like us, some are
Bro, like
making videos.
what type
Then
of content you are gonna make with a mobile phone? Like some Instagram or Facebook?
that depends on them.
Yes. So like that's the most
I think
common
for
case
us,
scenario.
like the person who just started YouTubing, he of course would use his handset or mobile set or like a which is available to him. So since mobile phone or a cell phone is available right now, so much available, so he or she would use that, of course, right? So if you count that in, that probably gonna be like 10 hours or even 12 hours a day.
Bro, like you'll be surprised. Like the children, like 8 to 12, they are like not far behind. They are using 4 hours and 44 minutes daily. And in our country, most of the children may not get mobile phone, but they spend the same exact time on TV watching cartoon. Like, do you agree with me?
What else would they do?
Like, that is a good question, but man,
Yeah,
like this is not good. If you use mobile for like 7 hours a day, like this is not good for your health because I don't use a mobile phone.
that's because you don't have one. If you had one, of course you would use, right?
No, look, like I am a 16 now, all right, so I can have a phone if I want to, but I don't want a phone right now because I think that mobile phone is a luxury, not a necessity. Do you agree? It's a luxury, I think.
No comments.
No comments. Why no comments?
What do you think? It's a luxury to me. Do you know the like?
It's luxury for everyone. Like back in the day when like it was 1990 to 2000, there were teenagers also. They didn't use mobile, right?
Back in
But
one,
nowadays, 1990 to like
there was
2000,
no cell phone
2000,
then. Back then, there was
well,
cell phone
obviously
hasn't
there
been
was
invented yet.
like
The phones we kind of talking about are smartphones, right?
smartphone.
Yeah, smartphones. Back then, even satellite phones were too expensive, and when cell phones, actually massive brick size cell phones when came in, then they were too expensive to be handed to a children or a teenager. That time they were used only on professional purpose. But then back then there was telephone, right? Every household had a telephone. I don't know if you had one, but my household had a telephone.
My family also own a telephone, but I think my question was wrong. So let me do a different approach.
Yeah,
Like what kind of work a teenagers do that requires a mobile phone? Like what?
nothing much.
Yes, so that's why it is a luxury, right?
If you can afford it, you can have one. That
Yes,
depends on you.
that's what I'm saying. It's a luxury. It's not a necessity. Like you can pass a day completely without a mobile phone.
Yeah, I would
Right? Do
agree.
you agree with me?
Yeah,
So the teenagers they are using mobile phone and they are using this extensively, and many parents are giving them. Like, do you think it is the fault of their parents?
there are reasons behind it because some get those phones like for a reason. If your parents are both have jobs to do and they are out for the house for like the whole day, then they would give you one cell phone. They would give you one. You
Bro,
don't
like,
have
are
even
you
have to
talking
ask
about
for them.
coaching and stuff?
What?
Like coaching when you have to
For
do
communication, I guess.
coaching?
Yeah,
Yes, communication,
you
right?
can have like
So
any. You can communicate with any like regular phone. You don't require one like smartphone.
so like let me tell you one thing that in the communication thing, that's I think the most common reason that most of the parents or like children or teenagers gives excuse.
Yeah,
They put up this as an excuse to buy them a smartphone, right?
yeah.
So
That's a
like
classic one.
I also did coaching, and I had two coachings or three coachings a day, but I didn't need a smartphone. I never needed one for communication. So how does this a valid excuse?
So you want to know the real truth, right? You and I
Yes,
both know, but
yes, but I want
you
you to
don't.
tell
You
me.
want me to say you are taking the good side here and you're trying to make me the villain. Okay, that's not a problem. Fact is fact.
No, I'm not saying that. Why are you saying this? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that what is the reason? Like people wants to know.
people wants to know what is the reason that teenagers are having like trying to get a
Like
phone,
they
right?
want mobiles so bad.
Exactly.
Like
Sometimes they want a
yes,
pretty luxurious one or
yes.
like a pretty expensive one. That's where the problem begins. The thing is like our society right now is so messed. Like everyone's trying to show them off. Not everyone, like some of them are trying to show themselves off. And at teenage, these things are pretty high on range. Like your friend might have a phone, their parents might not like scold them or disagree with them when they want a phone or like a pretty expensive phone. When your friends having a smartphone or like a good smartphone in their hand, you'd of course feel pretty bad. You know that it's not going to be good for you to use a smartphone or ask your parents to give you one, but of course it will hurt you deep inside your mind. It would strike you that why he has one, why don't I have one? You might be a good student than him, you might be a good student or like a good children or like a better person than him, then why you don't or can't get one? That's the thing where this problem begins, right?
Did you know? Did you are you familiar with the term FOMO, fear of missing
Missing
out?
out, exactly.
It's about your surroundings. When, for example, let's just say you have 10 friends, right? So
Yes,
nine of them have mobile phones and you don't have one. So like you may think that
of course
you are
it
gonna
would
miss
make you feel
out. They
bad.
are not.
Anyone, you and me, of course it would make us feel bad, right?
So like, what is the solution here? Like, we all should just get a phone.
We can give a solution. There's like parents can just call them if they will ask for the phone, but their parents should make them understand that they shouldn't have a phone right now. It's not the question that they couldn't have one. Like why shouldn't they have one? And it also depends on the parent. You can have a phone, that's not a problem. It depends. The problem where it begins is how you use it, right? You can have a phone, that's not a problem.
When you are a teenager, it is very normal for you to become addicted with a phone. You won't be able to stop yourself if you own a phone. Like, that's very difficult to do, right?
What I'm telling you are getting right.
Yes.
It depends on your usage. If you want to use it for other purpose, of course at teen you might get into anything, right? But completely depends on how you use it. You might make mistake, but the mistake shouldn't be that much bigger that you couldn't get out of it. Like I also had phones, I also had addiction towards gaming, that's all, nothing else. And I didn't had that much of addiction. Like we would talk about this other time, like addiction towards gaming and all, or social medias and etc. I had a phone like pretty much from the same time my friends had phone, like seventh or eighth. I had phone, yeah. From the start of ninth grade, I had phone. Some of my friends had phone since like sixth grade or seventh grade, or some of them had like after me. But most of them
I
like
still don't
did.
own one.
I still don't own one, was you can't get one. But
No, I can get, but I don't want to. Like, I think I have a fear that I think I might be addicted with a phone, so like I decided just not to go with one. Like, I'm very fine.
that's the yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
having.
A phone, you doesn't have a phone doesn't mean you're gonna get killed. Friends gonna bully you, of course, but that isn't something that should be bothering you, right?
Yes, that's not bothering me. And another thing is that the communication thing is like very classical excuse, and there is nothing important about communicating. So you can give a valid excuse for a communication unless you are like studying in like a varsity or when you have to go to some distant places, right? So now you are not doing that. So why you want a phone now?
The thing is, when you get into a varsity, that means you're pretty much like at that age, you're pretty much mature enough to handle yourself, or like
Yes.
pretty much enough to
Then you
protect
are not
yourself
a
from trouble.
teenager
Exactly,
anymore.
exactly. That time you don't need that much of phone. That much of phones means from time to time, like or every hour, you don't have to make a call to your home saying that I'm okay, right?
Yes.
But at this type of time, when our parents sending us to the coachings and all, they are always like they're tensed about what's gonna happen, what's happening. That's why I don't know what you did, but I used to call my mom before the class starts. Like, mom, I'm getting into the class. I will be doing driver is okay, like, and I would cut the call. So that's it. And after after when I'm finishing the class, or if I'm going somewhere else, then I would inform her. Or like if I get into any jam or face any traffic, then I inform her like there's huge traffic, it would take some time to get home. That's it. But when you are in varsity, it's not gonna bother your parents either, and it's not gonna be bothering you. You're that much
So
mature.
I think one valid reason can be illegal relationship.
You are no, that's what I'm talking about. You should be mature enough to. That's
No,
what
like
we talked
for
about
example,
earlier episode. You should be mature enough to handle yourself on this kind of thing.
but most of them can't.
I can.
So it is
I did. I
normal.
had a phone since 9. Did you hear anything? Like
No,
you you did ever hear anything? Something
bro,
like
like
this? No.
I'm not. Majority of them doesn't, but most of them, like for example, maybe 40% of them,
Yeah, they are setting the benchmark here. They are setting this bad benchmark here.
like
That's a
you can continue a relationship with your parents' phone, right?
yeah,
Like you will be caught.
of
So
course.
that's why I think owning a personal phone is very important,
You can continue a relationship even with Nokia 1100.
bro. Like
You
that,
just need the
you
communication.
have to be super. I don't know. I don't know what to say
Back
if
then,
you
didn't
can
people
continue
used
a
to?
relationship.
Back then, didn't people used to do like
Bro,
relationships and all?
those relationships were very different, like from today.
People even used to talk on telephone for hours and hours, hiding from their parents. There are such stories. There are even
So
such stories. Yeah.
I think that this is the main reason why every teenagers want a personal phone. Well, maybe not every teenager, like most of them. And another reason might be the parents. Like some might not believe their children's, like
Be-
they think that they will not be safe. That's why they give them phones.
Not believe it's they are concerned about their children.
Yes, concern. So, like, then those children use it for other purpose. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like these kind of purpose are like only 10%. The rest 80% is about the coolness, and the rest 10% is the parents just give them the phones. Parents doesn't
And
even bother. That's it.
just some wants to show up
That
and
like
flex on
yeah,
others.
egoistic
Like,
or like
yes,
exactly
he
this
wants a
kind of
phone,
thing.
so I want a phone too. That's their idea. I think I don't know it's that's a valid idea, but that is it. And but should parents meet everything their child demands?
No, no, no. That shouldn't be okay. Like this shouldn't happen because in this case, most of the children's like derails or like they become what to say. Like they don't want to listen their parents anymore. What just say we just
So that is a dangerous thing.
yeah.
But
That shouldn't happen. They're like your children wants everything and you're like giving it to them every time. This
so
shouldn't
like
happen.
this ideal example is, let's say A is very evil, so he wants to continue a relationship and that's why he needs a phone. So he approached our parents and asked them to buy a phone, and ultimately A's parents bought them a phone. So I think that could derail you from your study, right?
Yeah, that sometimes happens. If you have a phone,
So
of course,
that's
this
then
happens.
this is a very dangerous thing.
In this case, parents should like check means in a good way. Actually, they should talk to him or her, keeping up with every of her details. Most of the time, what happens is
Bro, like let's
right.
be real, 90% of them it doesn't happen. Like most of the time.
It doesn't happen, but most of the time it happens is like parents sometimes scold you and take your phone away. I kind of appreciate that because my parents used to do it. My
You
parents
are
used to do it.
meaning strict parents.
Strict, not that much strict, like they would beat you up and all, but they would want or take away my phone during my exams and all. Like from before exam, at the during exam, and after the exam, I would get the phone again. That's
Yes,
it.
that's this phone thing is I think very concerning thing. But so I think you agree that having a phone at a teenage is a luxury, not a necessity, right?
Yeah, that's not a necessity at all for a teenager. But right now, the condition or the society is something like that. Parents are very insecure or like concerned about their children sending off to different coachings and tuitions and schools and all. So that's why they usually give them a phone, or if they have extra phone, like they wants to communicate, keep communication with their children. That's it.
But that's where their children takes the advantage.
Sometimes,
They instead of using a button phone, they require smartphone.
like if your parents can afford, you can get one. Like as I said, if you can afford, you can get one. This time, like children
Bro, in
tries to
this
take
day
some
and
kind
age,
of
like
example.
99% of the parents, I think, can afford a smartphone.
Yeah, now that smartphones are like so reasonable,
Yes,
so
and
most of the time.
once you
But
have a smartphone, you can literally do anything
so
with
problem
that
begins
smartphone.
where the like the children wants a expensive one, right? This happened
Yes,
in my family. Like some relative of mine, this kid reads in seventh or eighth grade. He doesn't even live in Dhaka. He lives in some kind of mofussil city. So he wants an iPhone, right? Not even
so
just
like
four or
I
five.
don't
He wants.
imagine.
Exactly. I can't even imagine my parents would get me one. He wants a six series, 6S plus or like seven. Like just imagine.
That's like an ultra level luxury right there.
Exactly. That's ultra level egoistic and like ultra level luxury. Then just what did say?
And another thing I noticed is that most of the teens prefer phones instead of laptop, which is more important than a phone.
Laptop, yeah, right. They have to know, or they have to have some reason to use one. But in case of phone, they can like show it off and all. Phone does everything, right?
But like earlier you said that they use that for working reason, but in a laptop you can do everything plus a phone can do except for communicating. Like you can download an emulator for example, then you can download every app. Like then why do you need a phone?
At sixth or seventh grade, a kid wouldn't understand that. Even we didn't even understand. Like I wasn't like couldn't ask for a laptop back then. All I did was I asked for a phone, and my parents actually agreed, and they kind of like in a average or reasonable budget, they got me one phone, and I was
And
happy. At
I
all.
did actually the opposite. I never asked for a phone. I all asked is for a laptop, and in the laptop I can do everything, whatever I want. But that is the thing. That is the problem. Like most of the kids don't understand that.
Yeah, they don't think rationally or practically.
Yes, because like in a laptop you can do everything in the world, plus a phone can do. So like you just that one negative thing is that you won't be able to flex among your friends, right?
You also can flex if you have a MacBook and all. If you have a
So
big budget laptop, you can flex, right?
like,
That's
what
not
are
the
the
concern of us,
percentage
right?
that a teenager wants a MacBook? What are the percentage?
I would want one.
2%, 3%?
I would want one because of its configuration, its workability, and everything. Like I have reasons to. You and I have a reason to want one, right? Because
Yes, but we'll never get one.
yeah,
We'll never get
would
one.
I would never ask for a MacBook from my parents. Actually, I would want to buy one with my own money. That's it. I'm getting too
That's
much already.
very low.
We are too much facilitated already. What else we could ask for, right? I have a phone already. I have a laptop right now which I'm working, and
But
you also have a
I
laptop
think
right now.
most of the teenagers are privileged. They get everything they want, but I don't think I am very privileged because I get what I need. I only get that.
Yeah, so like
So so
that's what
so like
happens
I'm
in.
good. Like I'm not happy too much, but I'm good. That's what I'm gonna say.
You have always this kind of regrets whenever I talk to you. Just want you tries to compare yourself with others and say like I like this, I like that, but this shouldn't happen, man. You should be happy with what you have.
No, I say like I'm good.
You are like we are like super privileged, right? We are super
No,
privileged.
not super privileged, bro. Like
This is super
you take it
privileged,
very
man.
easy.
Right now at this pandemic situation, we are doing a podcast. I and you both bought a laptop 3 and 4 weeks ago.
Yes,
We are getting
people
food
can eat right
three
now.
times a day. Exactly, we're getting food 3 times a day in our table. So what more we can ask for? You and I both went to a very like top class institution. I'm
Yes,
hoping to
so
get.
yes, I'm privileged when
We
I
both are
listen to you,
privileged.
but when I'm alone, I think I am not that much of privilege. So
You
that is
shouldn't
that.
think that way. That's it. That's what the most of the teens do. Like they always tries to compare themselves with others. Like then they find this kind of lackings that
That's why they get in depression.
exactly depression. I wouldn't say, but they like these want or these lackings always getting created, always getting hollowed every time they think about or tries to compare themselves with others. But it's not always your parents or like everyone's parents isn't same. Like in our
Yes,
classmate in my class there are even children who can have 2 or 3 iPhones or like PC build and all everything, and there are also students who whose parents are actually like they serve in the army as soldiers and all. So what do you think if the kid of the soldier tries to compare himself with that kid who can have 3 or 4 iPhones? Like of course there will be imbalance or there will create
but
a lack
but
of
that is the thing. You can complain the kid, right?
yeah.
So like this is not the kid's fault.
This is not the kid's fault, but the kid should like actually try to understand if your parents would, if your parents can, of course they would get you one, right? Of course they
But
would get you
most
one.
of them don't understand that. I think that's very
Exactly,
important.
exactly. This
So
is
like
the thing.
we all can agree to this point that owning a mobile phone at a teenage is a luxury, not a necessity, right?
Not so cool, yeah. Like
Yes.
the
So
amount of cool we think it's not that much of
it's not that much. So if we do not own a phone, I think that's completely fine
yeah,
because I don't own a phone still now and I'm doing very good right now and that is fine. And but if you own a phone, I think you should use it with very carefully, right?
yeah. This should happen.
So so
I
if you
use it that manner. I use it that way and I'm pretty good. It has been, there was no trouble or anything for me with my phone and
so
all, everything. So they
so
should use it like understably. They should
yes,
understand what to do and what not to do. There should be
that's
margin
completely
and
up to
strictness.
them.
Yeah, that's
So
why
that is
we're
it
here.
for today's episode. Thanks for listening. I am Tasrif and that's Sadman.
Yeah, bye bye.
Thanks for
And
watching.
you will listen to us on next episode. Till then, take care, stay home, stay safe. Goodbye.
Yes, stay safe most importantly. Goodbye.